Hey, welcome back. Hey, welcome back to Rapid Flow. And yeah, my apologies, I've been missing for a couple of weeks. I had a really bad cold, but I used the time to rearrange the filming light camera setup here. So I hope you're going to enjoy this one. So today I want to share with you one of the biggest, really one of the biggest hacks that I've come across in my years of making music, which is running everything you do at the record phase already through Ableton. And the key to this is a low latency interface. And what I use are Quantum Presonus interfaces. I was chatting with a friend about this today. Benjamin, what's up? And I realized I've never shared this before, and it's high time that I do. So the interfaces that I use are Presonus Quantum interfaces. They connect to Macs and PCs via Thunderbolt, which makes them incredibly low latency. And actually, it's something people agree about on Gearspace, which is pretty incredible. So the huge thing about this is that if you are listening to your track in production, like what I have here now, this little sketch, and whatever it is that you're sending into the DAW is going through the whole settings of the track. So like, you know, the reverbs, delays that I have in this template, but also the mastering chain, you can hear the instrument that you're about to record in the context of the actual whole track. And this is huge. So the reason why this is huge, before I get carried away, is because you actually record sounds as you're going to use them in the track. You don't have like to extrapolate your brain with like, oh, this is how it sounds now through my mixing desk or my monitoring console, you know, of my audio interface, which is completely naked and in a way not related to the track. Let me show you this because it will be easier than if I try to explain it. So what I have going on here right now is like this, just like a little loop that I've done using the torso, which is triggering the Prophet 6 over here. And that's just going straight into one channel here on this template. And if you're interested, by the way, in using this workflow, you can get this over on rapidflow.shop. It's the Infinity Bundle. Okay, so let me bring in just the low end for this. Okay. So now we have like, you know, this sound coming in, but the cool thing is we're monitoring this sound through Ableton, through the mastering chain. And for example, and this is already where it starts, I could theoretically add one of my, you know, nice reverbs and a little delay from Ableton to a synth that's being played in real time. Check this out. So right now I'm starting to get a feeling for what this will sound like in the mix. And listening to this right now, I can already tell, especially if I bring in some of the drums here. Let me show you. So I can immediately tell that this synth is going to fight to cut through the mix of the drums. And the main reason for this is that the drums are mono, but so is the synth. The problem is that the synth voices are basically, but the synth voices are coming up through the middle mono. But listen to, I hope you're listening to this with headphones. Listen to what happens with the synth voice if I start spreading it out, which is a really nice trick that the Prophet 6 offers. Can you tell how they got out of the way now of the drums? And so like now the drums are kind of down the middle and the voice is a little bit panned out. Let me show you again. So yeah, like over here, the Prophet has a pan spread button. So let me take the pan spread all the way down again and show you one more time. So you hear how like right away I know now, cool, like that's not gonna like fight anymore. And I haven't even recorded this yet, right? So what I can do now is go to the track. So I'm monitoring this through the track where I'm gonna want this to later sit on my live set. So I'm skipping all these in-between steps of like, oh yeah, later I'm going to move it to the right place. No, I'm going to track this straight into the track where later I want this to show up into my live set. So check this out. I'm going to open this up, check my metronome to know where the downbeat is, and add it now to this track idea. Cool. So now I have this tracked into my little, track idea thing that I have going on here. And immediately it's already in the right place with the right effects, with the right stereo width. And basically this is now ready to go. So now let's assume that the next thing I want to do is add a bass to this. So what I'm going to use now to track in the bass is one of my favorite combinations, which is the Oberheim Matrix 1000, which is getting notes from the Beatstep Pro. And all this stuff is being clocked off a multi-clock so that I can be really tight in the grid with what I'm tracking. So what I'm going to do now is bring up the fader that I've mapped on my control surface here for this bass sound. That's getting already its sound over from the mixer. So let's have a listen to where we're at with this. So even though, yes, it's a super nice sounding bass, but I can already tell this isn't really gonna cut through the mix well enough. Like it's, I could record this in now and then spend hours tweaking it with plugins and stuff. And there's more wrong with this than the fact that it's not cutting through. And what I'm thinking is that actually I would want the bass to feel deeper. So what I'm gonna do is use the Beatstep stroke transpose function to try to get a bit more low end out of this bass. That's it. So I ended up on this, which is probably like a fifth up and an octave down or whatever, you know what I mean. It's like it resonates with it, but now the bass is like way deeper. Like it's like also you can hear it against the other elements. So let me bring in my chordy, hooky, whatever thing that I had going on before here. And now it all just works. Like now the bass is kind of where it needs to be. Nothing's fighting with each other. So now I'm in a position where I can track in this bass. Cool. So now I've tracked in this bass at the right height for this, and I'm not going to be fighting with the arrangement and the sequence and that it's going to completely shift on me after I put mastering on it and, maybe add a little bit of delay to the bass or something, because it's all already there. So this is what I wanted to show you, which is if you're monitoring through your DAW and you're using your own mastering chain, or if you want to save yourself the work of building all this, you can get one of our templates. You end up in a situation where there's no guesswork anymore on the stuff that you're going to be tracking in. And of course, this studio is pretty massive because we make sample packs, but this applies even if you have just one synth. Like, if I was starting out from scratch, what I recommend people, I'd get like a Behringer TD3 Mo and a Prophet 800, Pro 800 from theirs. Then I'd be set. Like with that, I could do what I just did also. And if I was tracking them in through just like direct to my audio interface, so the Presonus Quantums, there's 3 on the market left, 4 on the market left, which are from the first series that offer this super low latency workflow. If I'm hearing what they're doing as part of the mix through the DAW, which is, like in essence, what is in the DAW now is what I could sequence and turn into a track. Obviously, I need a few more elements, but this is the basic sound quality of what this track will sound like when it's mastered. And if I look at my spectrum analyzer, I can see actually that everything's also in the ballpark from a frequency and loudness point of view. Your DAW becomes your playground, and anything you track in, you can hear it in real time through anything that you're doing in the DAW and the way it's actually going to sound in your final track, which for my production workflow has just been huge, because I very much believe in this very empirical approach of like, you know, I want it to be proven sounding good and I don't want to have to guess about it later. And as you just saw on the spectrum analyzer, this is all perfectly in the pocket now of where it would be a piece of cake to mix this into a finished track. And the reason why is that I tracked in these two elements exactly where they need to be from a loudness point of view. I don't need to touch my fader. If I show you my bass and my harmonic fader, which are the two elements that we just tracked, they're all the way at the top and the clip gain is set to 0. And yeah, these sounds are going to fit beautifully together. And yeah, of course, the whole template is set up in such a way that you get, you know, a good kick drum level, a good hi-hat, snare, shaker level, all that is already set at the back here. But I wanted to just focus this on showing you what happens when you start tracking in your instruments through a low latency workflow, directly listening, monitoring through your DAW and not through some third-party software somewhere that's totally disconnected from your project, which, if you think about it, it doesn't make sense. This technique is what people used to do in old school studios when you would track to 24-track 2-inch analog tape. You would never listen to the mixing board what's going to tape. You would listen to what's coming back off the playback heads, so you would know what you actually recorded. And this is exactly that workflow, but with a DAW and in the digital domain. So yeah, I wanted to show you this because it's been incredibly helpful for me. I was chatting with a buddy about it today, and I actually realized this is something I wanted to share and that could be useful for other people also. Grab those Presonus Quantum interfaces while they're still available. Yeah, the original series, not the USB 3 series that's out now, which doesn't offer this low latency stuff. The workflow that you saw is the Infinity Bundle, which you can get on rapidflow.shop, and it comes with all these kick drums and all this stuff already pre-mixed and ready to go, so that you can actually adopt this workflow with literally one click, open up this template, send in your synths, and you're ready to go. All right, I hope this has been helpful for you. I'm gonna mess around with this a little bit more, and I'll see you in the next video. Take it easy. Bye-bye.